How do artistic freedom and commercial considerations relate to each other nowadays in OMD?
In OMD?
Or generally?
Or generally. First generally then.
Okay. I mean, I think everybody accepts and understands that the music industry is in a very difficult place.
Yeah.
You know, nobody wants to spend any money buying records. There's very little money in the music industry now. So it's in a difficult place. I mean, there's a few people who sell millions, and they and their record companies still make lots of money. And there's a few people who sell a few tens of thousands, and they do it themselves, and they don't spend too much, and that works. But the bit in the middle, kind of between 50,000 and 500,000, it's dead. Nobody makes any money. And that's a huge problem. The music industry is very, very different to when we started.
Yeah.
Do you make concessions in that?
The great thing about doing Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark again is that we don't have to make concessions. We're not multi-millionaires, but we have money because we've been lucky. We wrote our own songs, they still get played on the radio. That pays our bills. So we now have the opportunity that we can make a record that we want to make, that we don't have to sell to make it, you know? And that could be bad because that could mean we'd be very self-indulgent and just make a terrible record. But again, we think we made a good record, and people are telling us now that we've made a good record, which is nice. But yeah, we're not going to sell millions. We don't expect to sell millions, and it's not a problem.
All right. How would you characterize the history of modern?
Shall I start?
Go on, you start.
This could be a long answer. I think it is Paul Humphreys and Andy McCluskey from Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark saying something that they are interested in with energy in songs that sound like Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark, that in the voice of our style. We have a style, and we are allowed to do it again. People think it's a relevant style, but the most important thing is that the songs are good and there is energy in the music, and I think that's how I would characterize history of modern.
Yeah, we've kind of I think in talking about how we're going to make the new album as well, I think we both agree that our first 4 albums had a unity of sound to them. And I think after that, we started to go off in different tangents. And I think we wanted to sound a bit more like our first 4 albums in terms of the sort of more pure electronics that we were using, and the textures we were using, and the palette we were using. We decided to bring into the now, but not in a sort of a retro way. We didn't want to sound like a pastiche of OMD.
But that's the important thing. We brought it into the now. It has to sound like a 2010 record.
Yeah, was it a necessity to use the techniques of now? Because that's really what I hear.
Yeah.
It's the old with the new.
Yeah, that's right. And because, as I said before, we've kept on songwriting. We have our own studios, so we have all the modern technology. We understand all the modern technology.
We know what a modern record sounds like. You know, we make them, we buy them, we listen to them. So we can take our old sounds and our old unique style and make it sound now. You know, there's no point just trying to sort of do a nostalgic copy. There's no point trying to make a retro record that sounds like 1981. It's got to sound like now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In a making of Enola Gay, you showed the little keyboard on which it was made. Is it still around?
Yeah, we got it. We had to re-buy it though.
Yeah, I have the old one. It doesn't work very well. He has one he had to buy off eBay.
But there was a great thing you said. You said that a good song, you can play a good song with only one finger, so even your grandmother can understand it.
Yeah.
Is that still what the thing you use? The sentence you start a song with?
Well, I mean, I think we've always tried to say the most in the minimum amount of notes, really, because we've not, we were never great players anyway, so we couldn't say it in the maximum amount of notes. So, and we were also taught by Kraftwerk in the sense that their minimalism we loved, and so, you know, we tried to always reflect that in our music.
We were lucky that we couldn't play very well.
Yeah.
So we kept it simple, and simple is always the most effective, you know? It's very few people want to hear that you can play 300 notes in one bar of music. It's like, who cares? Just play a melody that we can remember.
And we were also rebelling against all the prog rock of the mid-70s as well, where it was all about the technical ability and the millions of notes you could play, and we hated that. So we wanted to just reduce it down to the bare minimum, really.
Paul has a very magic finger there.
Yeah.
Genius music finger.
On what instrument do you prefer to write your songs? Is that the keyboard?
Yeah, we use keyboard and we use a computer, Pro Tools.
The computer is the main instrument.
Yeah.
Does that take away the nostalgia or something, or the?
Well, yes, but we're not trying to be nostalgic. So we're quite happy that we're
using modern technology.
I mean, the only problem you have now is in the old days we had only a few sounds and a few instruments. So it's like, okay, bass drum, okay, do snare drum, bass sound, here you go, bass sound. Now it's like bass drum. Well, in my computer library I have 3,000. Which bass drum do you want? That's a problem.
Yeah.
It makes it harder. Yeah?
Well, you can get lost in the choice of sounds. So
instead you'll use women in high heels.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah,
we got rid of all the drums on that song and just used a woman walking down a corridor in high heels.
How did that come about?
Well, you see, this is the whole point of being Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark, is trying to find an interesting new way to do something. And this was the challenge with the history of modern LPs. Can we still do something that we haven't done before?